Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are digging into a really fascinating stack of sources. It's quite a collection.
Yeah, it really is. We've got wisdom stretching from, the Stoics like Seneca and Epictetus,
Right, all the way through literary giants like Tolstoy and Thoreau.
and landing on modern strategists, people like Robert Greene, Michael Jordan, even Wim Hof. It's quite the mix.
It is. And our focus today is pretty, well, laser sharp.
Hmm.
We want to pull out a strategic framework for living with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at how our small daily choices and cultivating personal discipline, how these things don't just improve us.
Right. It's bigger than that.
Yeah, how they
Yeah.
design a life that allows us to become, a hero in our own story, but also in our community.
And that core tension you mentioned, it's something we all grapple with, I think, whether we realize it consciously or not.
What's that tension exactly?
It's balancing the immediate, the urgent stuff demanding our attention right now with preserving that long-term strategic flexibility we need for tomorrow.
They seem like opposites, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. But what's fascinating is how these sources, ancient and modern, kind of converge. They show us these two things are synthesized through, well, intentional choice.
So if you're listening and you constantly feel busy, like you're swimming in activity but not really making progress.
Yeah, if you feel starved of true progress, this deep dive is really designed to clarify that path. We want to move you past just, running on the treadmill.
And give you the tools, the mechanism to achieve real, meaningful productivity.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. There's a strategic concept here that I found really powerful. It instantly reframes how we think about risk and reward.
Mm-hmm. The board game metaphor.
Yes, or chess. The sources use this visual to describe how we should position ourselves in life.
It's very effective.
The central idea, this comes a lot from Robert Greene's work, it's actually pretty simple.
Mm.
The best way to live is to keep your choices open.
Keep your piece in the middle of the board.
Right, where you have maximum potential movement, any direction. Greene suggests smart people should think like chess masters.
Not just the next move.
No, not just the next move, but the 3 or 4 moves after that.
Yeah.
That kind of thinking, he argues, is the only way to avoid getting, well, stuck in corners. Trapped, like the source gives this example of wanting a pet hamster. Seems small, right?
Sure. Seems innocent enough.
But if you use that chess thinking, you ask, does this choice open up future choices, or does it close them down? Am I really going to remember to feed it? What about holidays? Can I afford the food, the cage, the vet visits?
So that fun, immediate choice if you don't vet it strategically.
Exactly. It dictates whether your next moves are forced or free. You've created constraints.
I definitely see the strategic need for that. But doesn't that sound a bit exhausting? Constantly looking 3 moves ahead, couldn't that lead to analysis paralysis? Or being afraid to commit to anything?
That's a really fair question. I wonder that too. But the sources seem to suggest it's not about avoiding commitment altogether. It's about avoiding limiting commitment. Recognizing the difference between, say, a calculated risk that opens doors and a commitment that looks good now but has, a limited shelf life with no easy way out.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. So the framework clarifies that strategic flexibility means sometimes having the courage to say no to things that look advantageous now.
If they ultimately box you in later.
Exactly. Look at the example the sources use about screenwriting. Getting a big contract sounds great, right? Financially successful, maybe a short-term win.
Definitely.
But if it traps you in a restrictive genre or limits your ability to explore different creative subjects later on, well, that financial success becomes a kind of corner.
You have limited exits.
Precisely. True strategic thinking, as Greene lays it out, means actively seeking subjects and paths that offer, as he puts it, endless possibilities. Where mastery opens more doors, it doesn't shut them. And this loops back to the bigger picture, why this isn't just about personal optimization. Avoiding the corner isn't just maximizing your options, it's actually kind of an ethical imperative.
How so? Ethical.
Well, think about it. If you back yourself into a position that's super successful but totally inflexible, say, you specialized so tightly for a decade that you literally can't shift your skills when the market changes or a crisis hits.
Okay.
You've effectively limited your ability to contribute, to serve when circumstances change. The community loses a potentially adaptable, capable resource.
So we almost owe it to our families, our communities, to stay flexible, to be able to respond.
I think that's what the sources are suggesting. And that capacity starts with never letting ourselves get strategically trapped in the first place.
That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because the strategy, the plan, It's only as good as the person executing it, right?
Absolutely.
If our mind knows the path to the center of the board, but our habits, our bodies, just keep dragging us towards the corner anyway.
Like, the strategy falls apart. Useless.
Which brings us neatly to disciplined action. How do we actually bridge that gap between knowing what to do and, well, doing it?
And this is where the ancient wisdom really meshes with modern insights.
Yeah, Seneca gives us that really stark foundation. Your body should listen to your brain, not the other way around.
Wow. That's potent.
Isn't it? It's about establishing that hierarchy of command. Your physical self, your impulses, they have to be obedient to your long-term mental plan, your strategy.
And that's critical because the brain, the part setting the strategy, must also dictate the technique of the action. This is where someone like Michael Jordan comes in.
The link between stoicism and basketball greatness.
Kind of. Jordan's big insight, as highlighted in the sources, was that practice is vital, obviously, but technique is more important than just sheer repetition.
Okay.
If you practice the wrong way for hours and hours, like imagine practicing a golf swing totally wrong.
Wrong.
You don't get better.
You just get really good at doing it wrong.
Exactly. You're reinforcing the wrong muscle memory. You're essentially training your body to disobey the ideal outcome your brain wants. So disciplined action has to involve learning the right way, ideally from the start. It's the physical follow-through on Seneca's command.
And I think we've all been guilty of the opposite, haven't we? Working frantically just for the sake of looking busy.
Oh, definitely. Performative busyness.
Right. That frantic activity is exactly what the literary masters, like Tolstoy, warned against. He was so clear that real work, the kind that actually matters, that has substance,
is usually quiet and steady, not loud and frantic.
Yes. It's the total opposite of that performative stuff, the activity done mainly for appearance, not progress. You see people, firing off emails at midnight looking stressed.
But are they moving the needle? Or just shuffling papers, digitally speaking?
Exactly. It's motion versus vector, as you said earlier.
Right. And this is why Henry David Thoreau's question just cuts so deep. He challenges us. What do you work at?
Simple question, but what?
It forces you to look past the volume. Forget how many hours you logged or emails sent. What's the direction? Are you actually working at making things better or just, shuffling things around to seem productive?
The sources had that great example, moving toys around all afternoon to organize. That's busy work.
Performative versus quietly, steadily putting every single item where it actually belongs. That might feel slower, but it's good work. It actually clears the deck for tomorrow.
So disciplined action, doing the right work the right way, it actually fuels strategic thinking.
It seems like it. When you stop working just to look busy, you free up the mental space, the bandwidth, to actually think those 3 moves ahead.
Okay, now let's tackle what feels like a contradiction here. It trips people up sometimes.
The urgency versus patience thing.
Exactly. If we have to think strategically, consider moves way down the line. Doesn't that imply constant planning, maybe delay?
You'd think so, but the sources push back hard against that idea.
Yeah, they're really clear about the time constraint. The right time to do the right thing is right now. No hesitation.
It's about breaking inertia.
Right. Epictetus put it so bluntly. If you wish to be a writer, write.
Just do it.
Just do it. It demands immediate expression of your purpose. Don't wait until you feel perfectly ready, or you have better tools, or the market conditions are perfect. The second you identify the right thing, that action that moves you towards the center of the board.
You start today, now.
But how does that square with the long-term view?
That's the synthesis. You must act decisively now, but that urgency needs to be balanced with an understanding of long-term growth. This stops the immediate action from just becoming a frantic rush that leads to burnout.
Okay, so who helps us understand this balance?
Well, Wim Hof is a fascinating modern example in the sources. His whole philosophy is built on this radical self-belief, right? Nothing is impossible.
Pushing limits.
Yeah, encouraging us to see beyond what is currently possible. That kind of belief prevents your mind from setting up those self-limiting corners in the first place.
But he doesn't say just rush into it headlong.
Absolutely not. That's the key. He strongly emphasizes patience. He acknowledges, for instance, that it takes time to rid the self of negative emotions. Real growth, acquiring skills, genuine change, it doesn't happen overnight just because you decided to be urgent today.
It takes time.
It takes time, and the source material reinforces this really nicely by mentioning that idea of completion, that trust. The, quote, "He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion."
That speaks to processes unfolding over time.
Exactly. It speaks to the compound effect of those daily disciplined choices. So the paradox resolves itself when you operate on two timescales at once.
Act with Epictetus's urgency in the moment.
But trust the process with Hoff's patience for the long-term outcome.
Act now, trust the unfolding.
You got it.
Okay, this is where it all comes together, I think. The ultimate destination of this whole framework. Once you start mastering strategic thinking and disciplined action,
The focus shifts.
yeah, it shifts beyond just self-optimization. It becomes about social responsibility.
How does that connection work?
Well, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, according to the sources, recognized this incredible ripple effect. She found that the very act of taking individual responsibility, making your own principled choices, it actually strengthens your moral judgment.
Like exercising a muscle.
Exactly. It quickens your conscience. The more you practice disciplined choice, the better you become, fundamentally, at knowing right from wrong, and at choosing the path that benefits more than just yourself.
And that strategic improvement, that sharpened judgment, is critical because our choices don't happen in a vacuum, do they?
No, they're deeply interdependent. Tolstoy saw this so clearly when he talked about consumption and idleness.
What was his observation?
We basically said, if some people are perpetually idle, or if they consume way more than their share extravagantly, well, someone else has to work harder to compensate.
Or others suffer scarcity because of that imbalance.
Right. So every choice you make, every piece of work you do well and quietly, every moment of discipline you choose, it actually removes a burden, however small, from someone else.
So if I choose to do my work properly, diligently, and I avoid backing myself into that corner of over-specialization.
You're not just helping yourself stay flexible, you're actually creating capacity, availability for your family, your team, your community.
Like the example you gave earlier, choosing kindness helps the whole school. Choosing to put the toys away properly helps the whole family run smoother the next day.
Exactly. It's almost like small acts of localized heroism.
That's the essential synthesis, isn't it? This whole framework shifts the definition of success. It's not just about personal accumulation anymore.
It's about contribution and capacity.
Precisely. And Maya Angelou, in the sources, provides perhaps the highest aspiration for this way of thinking. Her definition of a hero.
What was it?
A hero is any person really intent on making this a better place for all people.
Wow. That's broad but powerful. It's
Mm.
not about capes and grand gestures.
Not at all. It's about focused intention and consistent, disciplined action, day in, day out. The crossing guard who shows up reliably waves kindly. The neighbor who consistently checks in on the elderly person next door.
Those daily choices.
Powered by that strategic foresight we talked about and executed with disciplined technique, those are acts of heroism because they make the world measurably better, even if just slightly, for those around them.
So living with strategic purpose, maintaining that flexibility.
You maximize your capacity for positive impact. It transforms strategic thinking from what might seem like a selfish exercise.
Into an ethical way of living.
Right.
A way to contribute meaningfully.
Spot on. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. Okay, that was quite a deep synthesis.
Yeah.
It really shows that being truly well-informed about choice, living strategically, means, what, 3 key things?
Yeah, let's boil it down.
First, thinking strategically. Staying out of those corners by considering consequences, maybe 3 moves ahead.
Keep your options open. That's number 1.
Second, acting decisively, but with the correct technique. Doing actual good work, not just performative busyness. Making sure your body obeys your strategic mind, as Seneca said.
Right. Quality action, not just quantity.
And third, recognizing the power of just showing up daily, regardless of how you feel. Adopting that mindset to get up, dress up, show up, and never give up.
Consistency is key.
So by following this kind of framework, you're already, in the process of becoming the kind of person who can achieve really incredible things and positively influence your community.
One intentional choice at a time.
One choice at a time.
And maybe that leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider. It builds on that idea of flexibility versus constraint.
Okay.
The wise person, according to these sources, actively works to maintain flexibility. Why? So they can adapt and serve when circumstances inevitably change. They retain capacity.
Whereas the person who backs themselves into that successful but rigid corner,
Right. They might feel accomplished for a while, maybe very successful by conventional metrics, but ultimately they diminish their greatest asset, their ability to serve effectively when things shift. Their capacity shrinks.
so the question for the listener is,
When you look at your schedule today, right now,
yeah,
are the actions you're taking building options? Are they increasing your capacity for the future? Or are they creating rigid constraints, boxing you in? Which corner are you learning to avoid starting right now?
That choice, that awareness.
That determines whether you're living strategically, intentionally, or just accidentally.